First of all, the Declaration of Independence says that God endowed us with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Due process of law, equal protection laws is essential to a free society. And it's my strong view that the legal profession, as much as we have been maligned, is indispensable to a free society. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, equal protection laws. And so I would say a good example of it would be the example I gave you a few minutes ago about Sammy. Sammy was destitute, he didn't have counsel, and as a result of being furnished with counsel, he was able to get a new fresh look on life. And so people like Jim Russ here, who does criminal defense work, has offered his services over and over and over again. And that's what we're supposed to do with our lives. We took an oath. When we became members of the Florida Bar, we took an oath that we would represent whomever is in need of legal representation, and even the destitute and the impecunious and the helpless. And so I guess that's all I need to say about that.
Leon, I want to ask you a question and then have Charlie follow up. When you were admitted to the bar, there were only about 400 students throughout the whole state that applied for the Florida Bar. This year, there's almost 3,000 that were admitted to the Florida Bar. The Orange County Bar Association, of which you were a past president, had 176 members. You take 10 tables here today, and you've got more than the Orange County Bar members. That was the whole Bar Association. Today, there's over 3,000 members of the Orange County Bar. Leon, what should the law schools be emphasizing most in teaching the vast number of graduating law students in today's legal environment? What are they missing? What are they not doing that they should be teaching?
Of all the people up here, I'm the one least likely to have advice for the deans of the law schools.
But you're not usually shy with advice.
I was I was in a class, and one of our members, Ben Smathers, was there, and he was asked by the professor if he realized that he had been absent virtually every class that semester. And as a matter of fact, when the dean saw him in the graduation line, he said, "I didn't realize you were a member of the student body here." And Ben said, "Well, I wanted to get my degree in absentia." And George Idson said, "That's the way he went through law school, Dean." I think you ought to let him do it. So, the education that the law students of today get is so far superior to what Charlie and I got. Charlie was a cherubic young man at the University of Florida when I first met him, fresh out of Jacksonville. We were ATO brothers up there. And I, of course, was eons older than he. Doesn't look that way today. It's true. And remember putting the pledge pen on him. We were proud of him. He was from Jacksonville. He could read and write. I went through law school, as Russell was saying. I had never been in a law office in my life when I graduated from law school. I knew no lawyers. My folks were country people from Lakeland. I'm the first Handley to get a high school diploma. And I was totally unprepared to practice law. I went with McGuire, Voorhees, and Wells for that wonderful $150 a month. And I made more money as a student at the University of Florida than I did as a lawyer. And Maxwell Wells reminded me regularly that I was worth more as a student than I was as a lawyer. So today they have these marvelous moot courts. They argue appellate arguments before panels of practicing lawyers and judges. They do work for real clients under the guidance of members of the bar. They have highly superior professors and marvelous facilities up there. Nothing was air conditioned. including the law offices. I still have a collection of paperweights, probably 100 of them, because everything you had in your office you had to put a paperweight on. Because if you were lucky enough to get a corner office, you'd be lucky enough to have your file blow out the window. Weren't careful. One of the members of the bar got mad one day and kicked the fan out of the window, and he looked out the window and went right through the top of his car, which was parked down below. So, you know, everything is so totally different. I brought something I found in my desk. Mary Virginia says the only reason I never got a divorce is that I never throw anything away. This is Orange County Bar, June 1, 1949, schedule of minimum fees, roster of attorneys, and the Orange County rules. The Orange County Circuit Court rules are contained on half of this page. And it says, in the trial of all causes before juries, the jurors shall be drawn from the venire by lot, except where all parties shall stipulate that they be drawn in their order as the names appear on the venire. They're very important. And no decree of divorce shall be entered until 14 days after the bill of complaint shall have been filed. No hasty divorces around here. That's the sum total of it. The roster of the bar is here. 96 members. 96. I knew every one of them. And 3 are now living, by the way. So longevity and the bar don't necessarily go hand in hand. Bob Ployce is here, the distinguished Honorable Bob Ployce. I've always liked you, Bob. I liked you a lot more before you retired, by the way. His father was a very active member of the bar, was on the committee on Lawyers' Title Guarantee Fund. Judge John G. Baker was president. Bill Dial, who was later chairman of the Sun Trust, as you know, was secretary treasurer of the bar at that time. So we had a bar that everyone knew everyone, and we sort of practiced law out of our back pockets. And now today they need to teach the students there how to make a noise like a lawyer, and what to do under what circumstances, and to be prepared for the practice. The self-same Ben Smathers was asked by Professor Carl Craston, we call him Crass Carlton, Mr. Smathers, if someone walked in your office and gave you this facsimile, what would you tell them? He said, I would tell them to come back tomorrow. He says, if I ask you that question, what would you tell me? He said, you're going to have to come back tomorrow. And we knew that all we had to do was get that degree, and we were immediately admitted to the bar. I got the degree in one hand and the license to practice in the other. I tell these young lawyers, I've practiced law 58 years, I've never passed the bar exam.
Let me move over to Charlie Abbott for just a minute. I think we tried to find the old Judge Edwards clock, the chess clock, but we couldn't. But Frank Bedell lent us his timer. Why he carries a timer in his pocket, I'm not sure. Charlie, let me change a little bit what I'm asking you. What I'd like you to do, because we're running short on time, and I'm going to ask everybody to do this, is if you could share 1 or 2 key points of advice with a young lawyer or an experienced lawyer who's trying to advance in his practice, what would you tell them?
Leon, the question they put to you was, what should the law school be doing? John,
The question is never important.
That's right.
but I will get to the question.
Even in the courtroom.
I will get to the question in a moment, but John, you reminded me of something I can't pass up when you said Leon always had an idea or an opinion on something. Leon and I were trying a case a number of years ago. We both had defendants, and I don't even remember what the case was, but I remember when Leon got up to argue the case, he looked at the jury and he said, ladies and gentlemen, probably just gentlemen, but whatever,